evening. Chris Zimba with Champion Services.
My name is Ben Hess. I'm with the Mattingly Family Companies.
I'm Adrian Adornetto, a proud dad, and I am the owner of Adornetto's family of restaurants.
My name is Kong Kim, financial advisor and trust administrator for Century National Bank.
We're proud to be a gold sponsor of the 2020 Tribute to Fatherhood.
Mattingly Family Companies has always been a big supporter of ForeverDads because we believe in what they do.
Our culture, mission, and goals here at Century National Bank go hand in hand with the mission and goals of the ForeverDads organization.
What I love about being a dad is to watch two beautiful children and be a part of their lives, to grow up and see what the future holds for them. Being a father is one of the most important jobs in the world.
Even before I had children, I've been excited about being a father because it allows me to continue to be a kid. It's one of the best things in the world.
My greatest responsibility is to be a great, loving husband to my beautiful wife, Kelsey, and to be a loving, caring, nurturing, and present dad to my children, Elijah, Landon, and Cora.
What I like even more is to be a kid myself, to be silly like Enzo there, and to learn about different things of their day and their school, to learn about Peppa Pig and Mickey Mouse. Aside from being the best husband I can be, being a great father, or trying to be the best father I can be, is the next most important job in my life.
I believe fatherhood is extremely important to the community. If fatherhood is done properly, children get a much better chance in life.
I believe that because that is what I was taught and modeled by my own dad and my greatest hero.
It is my honor to introduce James McDonald, the Master of Ceremonies, for tonight's event.
Thank you, everyone, and welcome to the Tribute to Fatherhood, our number 9 tonight in our history. This is a little different than is usual for us. As you know, most things have been for the past year, and so we have some of you who are in person tonight, and more of you are watching a live stream as this is going through WHIZ television. So we are honored to have you here tonight, and you're in for a night that you will long remember. We start tonight by recognizing the fathers who have been honored in the previous 8 years. We have this ceremony annually, and we identify 5 fathers. These aren't perfect men. They are men who are dedicated to their children and our community. And we have honored 5 each year. We induct 5 new fathers this year. And I want to recognize the fathers we've honored in the past. Here they go. So the class of 2012 was our first year, and the honorees in that family. And if you are here representing that person, or you are that person, when I call your name, if you would please stand. So honorees of 2012, Bishop Frank McDonald, Ray Thomas, Coach Don Stahl, Coach Ron Apperson, and Coach Whit Parks. Let's give that class a hand for 2012. And then we have the class of 2013, which included Paul Law, Dr. Keith Brantley, Bill Phillips, Tom Nash, and Reverend Bill Mage. If you're in the house, please stand. And the class of 2014 included Bill Moyer, Darrell Cubbyson, Bobby Martin, Ron Horn, and Tom Quinn. If you're here or represented here, stand please. It's so nice from year to year to have you come back and support this event. It's a legacy event. And so thank you all for joining us year after year. The class of 2015 included Judge William Joseph, Bill Moore, Coach Fred Matthews, Richard McClellan, and Dr. James Burson. If you're in the house, stand. There you go. And then the class of 2016 included Don McKendry, Bill Straker, John Montgomery, and Phil Newman, and Jack Downing. Are you here tonight? There we go. Miss Montgomery, hey, lady. Isn't she lovely? Very good. And then the class of 2017 included Robert Bumpus, Carol Fink, Bishop James Gators, Matt Lutz, and Hugh Maxwell. Are you in the house today, either of you? Bishop, my bishop is here. Good to see you. Thank you. I'm traveling from Columbus, Ohio, the capital city, and your lovely wife. Good to see you, sir. And the class of 2018 included Dr. Nick Sarup, Ed Bowman, James Adornetto, Ron Spiker, and Dr. Raymond Wadiker. Are you here, anyone? And the year before, actually 19, we weren't able to have this event last year because of the pandemic. 2019, we honored John Lepi, Russell Bolin, Bob Bradford, Bill Boulderson, and Ron Busey. Are they here, anyone? Ron, it's always good to see you. It was your discussion and vision that led us to this event as a fundraiser. We always appreciate your leadership in our community in your fundraising endeavors. And so now I would like to introduce the Legacy of Fatherhood class of 2021. The first honoree is Tom Barone. Tom and Janet Barone. Will you enter, please? Tonight, our next honoree is James Leo Berkey Burkhart, and he is represented tonight by his children, Kent Burkhart and Beth Hittman. Our third honoree tonight is Milman Lynn, and he'll be represented by his grandson, Ryan. Ryan, come this way. I want you to come across here because the light is better. Ryan represented his grandson. Our fourth honoree is Jerry Jackson. Come on in, Jerry Jackson and his wife, Anita Jackson. And our final honoree tonight, inducted into the Legacy of Fatherhood, is Chuck Bell. Let's welcome Chuck and his wife, Sue Bell. Beautiful, beautiful. Let's give a warm round of applause to our musicians, the Southeastern Ohio Symphony Orchestra Strings Trio. Thank you so much, ladies, for your active class. Tonight we celebrate fatherhood. Not necessarily individual fathers, but these 5 men represent a legacy of fatherhood across a lifespan. This is a night focused on dads. But I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge mothers. Can you imagine a world without moms? If you were to take moms from the home and from family, what would that mean for our children? What would that mean for our community? What would that mean for sports? What would that mean for education? Taking moms out, what would that mean for beauty? I couldn't imagine. And there are some beautiful and wonderful mothers in the house tonight. If you're a mother and have a child somewhere in the world, I want you to stand and we'll give you recognition right now. Mother. But tonight's focus is on dads. I have the same quandary. What would happen if we remove fatherhood from the family equation? What would happen if fathers were not around in community? What would happen to the economics of our community? What would happen to the security and safety in our homes and in our nation? What would happen to the spirituality in a family if dad didn't recognize God? What would happen if not just the men, but fathers? What would happen to discipline and leadership and nurturing and provision in the household? I hate to think about it. I was raised by Frank and Ruth McDonald. I honor them tonight. I always honor my mom and dad. They lived to be 96 and 93 years old. They were married for 69 years. They had 10 children, not as many as Berkey. They were one short. I don't know why they stopped. I'm number 8. But they transferred some things to me that just made the big difference in my life and the most significant difference in my life. They transferred legacy to me over and over again every day. Let me just give you one example. I came home from school one day, and I was grade school, and I was just probably maybe 7 or 8 years old. We came home for lunch. We probably had Campbell's soup and grilled cheese. And I came in the door, and there were 2 ladies sitting at our table with my mom and dad. Had a big, long table for 12 people. And I didn't know them. I never met them. But I was in the kitchen, and I just overheard the conversation. And I heard one of them say, "You know, Mr. and Miss McDonald, we can help you. We can help you. We see your situation here, and we think we can help." And my dad looked at Mom, and then he turned back to them, and he said, "We appreciate you coming to visit us today. You seem like 2 really nice women. But my wife and I had these children, and we're going to raise them." And they did. 10 children, all college graduates, from PhDs down through bachelor's degrees, in a poor family. And that day was a legacy transfer to me, because without saying a word to me, he said to me, "Son, if you have children, you take care of them. When you have a wife, you're faithful to her. When you have a home and a family, you take care of them. They're first. You sacrifice for them. They are your responsibility. I learned that one day without him saying a word to me. I learned that fathers matter in families. I see father absence in a variety of ways. I was talking to my son the other day. My son is a Green Beret. He's in Afghanistan tonight. But we had a conversation a few years ago because he's traveled all over the world. And he said, Dad, war devastates families. He said, I was in Africa, and I picked up a boy, and he was about 6 years old, and I carried him for 2 days. I couldn't put him down. And then my assignment ended, and I had to leave, and I cried. Because I knew when I put that boy down in a village with no fathers, what was going to happen to him. Fathers matter in every village, in every nation, in every home. That's why we're honored to celebrate fatherhood, because it matters. Fatherhood is really like a relay race. It's a relay race. You transfer legacy to someone else. And in a relay race, no one person runs the entire leg. No one person in the span of life and fatherhood. Nobody's here forever. Well, there's one father that's here forever. We know his name. But we are here, and we hand the baton to the next person, and they run their leg of the race. And so that's what these fathers have done. They received the baton from their mother, from their fathers, and they ran as hard as they can, and they give the baton to their children. So Tom and James and Milman and Jerry, Chuck, tonight we honor your legacy. Your years of dedication, hard work, and the example that you set in our community, we honor you tonight. We honor you tonight. Let's give these men a hand. May I give us a warning? Fatherhood is near a crisis. When you run a relay race, you can drop the baton. When you drop the baton, you lose the race. 18 million children, 1 in every 4, live without their father, biological step, adoptive father. That cost us $99.8 billion in taxes every year. And the taxes pale in comparison with what that costs us in terms of our children and them not having what fathers transfer in our world. I'm giving this time because I want you to understand the importance of the night and the value of men and fathers in our world. Here's what happens if we drop the baton, the fatherhood baton. Here's what's going to happen.
For Black people in particular, do you think that we can truly make change as things are right now?
Well, it starts in the home. You know, if the father's not in the home, the boy will find the father in the streets. Yeah, I saw it in my generation and every generation before me and everyone since. It starts in the home. You know, if the streets raise you, then the judge becomes your mother, and you know, and prison becomes your home.
And in this movie, you're dealing with young activists. So do you feel any hope right now with the young folks who are lawyers, who are, fighting and pushing for change?
I remember when I was doing the movie Malcolm X, and we were doing a speech up at Columbia. We had a bunch of students from Columbia University. In between takes, we were talking about things and how tough the world is and this and that. And I was like, well, with everything we're talking about, does it make you want to give up? And they're like, oh, no, we're going to change it. I was like, oh, I'm the cynic. They were thinking about changing things, So I think that, I pray that young people never lose that fire. I don't think they will. And needless to say, there's a lot for them to work on.
We can't lose the fire. We can't lose the fire. We can't lose the fire. There's a lot for us to work on. We can't lose the fire. 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 We can So let's rekindle the fatherhood fire tonight. You will hear stories of these honorable men and their families. Some of the Forever Dads fathers are here tonight. Some of the fathers we serve in our program are here tonight. And we do that deliberately to bring them to hear your story and how you manage to navigate your home and your families. It may be that they hear something that will inspire them to run their fatherhood leg with integrity, to run their leg in a manner that is faithful and consistent and supportive of the mother of their children, to run their race with the faith in God that is so strong that it transfers to their children and their children's children and their neighbors and their community. That's legacy. That's what we celebrate tonight. Reverend Anita Bolts will come and lead the invocation.
Our good and gracious God, who keeps covenant, even to 1,000 generations, I want to thank you for your abiding presence and grace throughout the ages and throughout these challenging days. Grant us the favor of your blessing this evening as we celebrate the legacy of fatherhood that began with you, ageless and eternal and divine Father, parent to all people and all nations. Bless these men whom we honor tonight, and may they be filled even to overflowing with all of the love and all of the honor and all of the gratitude that is embodied in the hearts and souls of each one of us who are gathered here tonight. I give you honor and thanks for your holy presence in this blessed occasion. And if you agree with that prayer, join me with amen. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you. So along with being a night of honoring men and fatherhood and fathers, this is a fundraiser. It is one of our annual fundraisers. We have a golf outing and we have an evening like tonight. And so throughout the night, you hear various ways that you can support the work that we do at ForeverDads. Many of you have already supported that work financially with your sponsorships, with your purchase of tables. This is an event that normally will have dinner and we have tables. Last year, many of you supported a table. And when we told you there was not going to be food at this event, that we would refund your sponsorship of almost 400 people. Nobody asked for a refund. Did they, Burl? Nobody asked for a refund. That's support of this work. We thank you for that. You've already supported it, and we ask you to continue to support it in various ways tonight. There is a book that we always give at this event, and it's a book that is written for a father to read to his children. Fathers ought to be involved and should be involved in the education and development at various levels of their children. So we have this book, and we have a book sponsor. There will be ushers that are going around if you want a copy of this book. It is called You and Me, Me and You by Miguel Tanco. And you can read this to your children or your grandchildren or your wife. But whoever you want to share this with. But we have a book sponsor, and the book sponsor, you'll see their sponsorship on the screen.
Hello, I'm Jeff Williamson from Williamson Insurance. We're proud to be the 2020 book sponsor for ForeverDads. I'm a father myself, and I know that it's very important that fathers have relationships with their children. I know that those relationships define the relationships those children are going to have later. So it's very important to us to do anything we can to help fathers and children further those relationships. You know, ForeverDads brings something to the table that hasn't been there in the past. It's an effort to connect fathers and their children. Anytime that we're able to do something to help an organization or a group, it's important. But when we talk about a book, you know, one of the best ways to find out the things you don't know is to read. Knowledge and wisdom are two of the most important things that a child needs. They gain it from learning from a book, and when a father expresses the importance and sits there and spends the time with their child and helps their child develop those learning skills, it goes on to benefit that child for a long time. That's why this is important to us. Over the years, I think the difference that Forever Dads is going to make in our community and in the households of many of these children as they grow up is going to be enormous.
Thank you, Mr. Williamson, for sponsoring the book. Maybe give him a hand. The ushers are in the aisleways. If you want a book or a copy of that, we will give one to you. There are some at the table. Anybody who is watching this via stream can, if they want a book, can email us at admin@foreverdads.com. That's ADMIN@foreverdads.com, and to receive a book, and we will make sure that you get one. Reading matters, and anything you do with your child and all the things that we can do, whether educational or athletics or whatever the dynamics, let's engage with our kids. Part of tonight is recognizing some people who have supported Forever Dads throughout the past year. And we give 5 awards to either people or organizations who have supported our work both financially or in a leadership capacity or in a consultation capacity or in a mentoring capacity. So we honor men and women who have supported the work of Forever Dads. And so if you watch the screen, you will see the awards that we honor men and women with this evening.
Good evening. Welcome to the Forever Dads 2020 Tribute to Fatherhood. I'm Jason Wilhelm, Board President, Forever Dads. So it's certainly my honor and privilege this evening to recognize the organizations and individuals that are out living truly the mission of Forever Dads. So to help us honor the 5 organizations and individuals, it's my pleasure to introduce Burl Lemon, Executive Director, Forever Dads.
It's been my privilege to serve as the Executive Director of Forever Dads. Forever Dads encourages, educates, and equips men to develop positive relationships with their children, family, and community. And tonight's awards is a reflection of those engagements. When I think of Lee Mitchell, there's an emotional stir in me I can't begin to explain. Lee's the recipient of the 2019 Service Above Self. We look for an individual who really has propelled the work of Forever Dads, not just as an individual, how he impacts the community. And in so many ways, he has heightened the resolve of men in our programming. We have an individual who came to us as a client, who chose to volunteer with us, moving forward to becoming a staff member on a very limited part-time basis, and yet still works above and beyond those hours. He truly is serving above himself.
When I seen that sign out there that said Forever Dads, and I said, what does that mean? Never knowing that one day that I was gonna be here and being an employee here. I was a part of the NFL class, and I graduated with my brothers. And I have to share this award with them because it's not just about me, it's a family. I love them like they're my brothers, and because they are my brothers. I like to say to all of the people watching, thank you for your support. Thank you for celebrating with us. And please continue to stay with us because we're going to continue on this mission to serve.
We'd like to congratulate Lee Mitchell. I know personally that sometimes it's the people behind the scenes that are really the true heroes of an organization. These are the guys that go above and beyond. They're there many more hours than they ever turn in on a timesheet. And it's just people like that who, genuinely care about not only their community, but the organization that they're working with.
Dr. Chad Brown is the recipient of the 2019 Directors Award. His representation with the Cora E. Rogie Memorial Foundation was critical And Forever Dads undertook one of the greatest, largest undertakings this past year in renewing our HVAC system. The Corey Rogie Foundation, under the leadership of Dr. Brown, provided a substantial fund, kind of out of the norm of what they do, but because they believed in the education of what we're doing, the engagement of the families that we're serving, both moms and dads, through our programming, and then just to encourage these families to be more healthy in our community. It was a different kind of infrastructure.
It's a unique place to find ourselves because the Rogie Foundation often does much of its work behind the scenes. So it's really something unique for us to be recognized in this way. It's a good feeling inside. It kind of puts not just a smile on your face, but a smile inside of you. And I don't know if that makes sense, but it does good to know that our organization and the life and legacy of Corey E. Rogie will continue to pay it forward in this community.
So for us, our mission is to provide value-based care and to do that by promoting the overall health of our population. And we believe that by supporting organizations like Forever Dads, that together we can achieve our mission and reach our goal of healthier communities and a healthier society, where that fathers, mothers, and families are more engaged and more united than ever. So this evening, I want to congratulate Dr. Chad Brown on the 2019 Forever Dads Directors Award.
We are privileged to bestow upon David Branch the President's Award. As a board member, he was making sure that we're constantly ensuring that our financial records are in place, and then looking for creative ways for us to move forward as an organization so that we are financially sound. And of course, today, several years later, it's a reflection of his work back in those early days.
I'm extremely humbled by receiving this award. It's a nice recognition from a great organization in the community, and I'm proud to be its recipient. Over the years, the board of directors of Forever Dads has had a number of people come and go. But what's really been great during that entire time is every one of those board of directors was concerned about not only being a good board of director, but being a great father. There were some incredible role models that over the years sat on this board, and I would listen to them in board meetings and think, wow, that's pretty impressive.
Fatherhood is something that's near and dear to me. I am a father, but also as an employer of many men who are fathers, I see the impact and the value of fatherhood. I think it's good that we promote and recognize greatness. We should not just step back and see other people doing things or say, well, that thing should have happened. When people in leadership step up and take action, that's what we're recognizing. That's what moves us all forward, that we've got to get something done. So through this award, through what David has done, that's what this award is about, that we're striving for that greatness in our lives together.
John Swisher came to us in partnership with United Healthcare. We needed someone also to help us as coordinator or a boot camp for new dads and new moms. And John, because of his work in the healthcare industry and social service, chose to serve as that coordinator. And he did that very well. As time progressed, we identified a need for a facilitator for Inside Out Dad. John stepped up to the plate and said, I will do that. Went through the training for and became certified as a facilitator of Inside Out Dad. This past year, conducted one of the strongest performances of class participation at Noble Correctional Institution. For this reason, we selected John as the 2019 Ron Apperson All-Pro Dad Award.
My grandfather said, don't ever do anything that you're ashamed to put your name on. Now, I'm sure that's not his original statement, but that's a phrase that he lived by. And it's a lesson that I have taken to heart. And so I approach what I do with a sincerity to do it well. And for Burl and the board of directors here at Forever Dads to think I have done well is a very nice thing.
I'm proud to be a part of Forever Dads, and as a matter of fact, I'm working with a young man right now that is doing some work for me, and he went through the boot camps, and by going through that class, he has got his son back. Proud to see a guy like that working day in and day out and trying to make a better life for him and his son.
Pat Kelly has been a part of Forever Dads from early on. Not only his contribution to look at our building that now is the home of Forever Dads and help us to ensure that our building is sound and in different stages of our projects of what work we've done here. He's been that advisor to us. Not only financially has he contributed to the support and work of Forever Dads, but he has provided that professional advice. And this last project, which was huge, I attribute his leadership to how we were able to reduce our cost to do it by probably $100,000.
I'm humbled because it's been awarded to some other people in the community that I've looked up to for some time. So I feel that maybe I'm not as deserving as some other people, but I am honored. Supporting Forever Dads is my way of paying tribute to the guys who played that role for me when I was younger. I think we are blessed in Muskingum County to have Forever Dads, and it's more than just Muskingum County. It's southeastern Ohio. We serve more than just this county.
Once you become a father, the things that happen within you and being able to hold your child for the first time, it's an emotional event, and what happens to you and how it changes you and what you become is something spectacular, and I wouldn't change it for the world, and I'm very proud to be a father. Congratulations to Pat Kelly. Community Bank is proud to be a sponsor of this award, and the award can go to a better man.
Congratulations to all recipients this evening. And thank you again for the work you're doing for Forever Dads, truly living out the mission of educating, equipping, and encouraging young men to become better fathers in our community. Thank you.
Is Lee Mitchell and Chad Brown and David Branch, John Swisher, Pat Collier in the house? Would you please stand? I'd like to recognize you. Thank you, gentlemen. We did this partly virtually because we've lived our lives virtually for the past year. We had meetings virtually. We loved our grandchildren virtually. And you have an opportunity to give virtually in a little bit. But thank you, all of you, for supporting the work here. It takes that to get this job done. Another recognition that we do at this event is to recognize people who have contributed substantially financially, and people who have given $5,000 or more in the course of a year to Forever Dads. We give them a footsteps of fatherhood. Now that's over here. I want to get this. I don't know if it's up there. This print, it's a print, but the original was painted by my favorite artist of all time, Mary Ann Busey. She's really one of my favorite people of all time, but she denies this. She'll deny this if you ask her, but this is my dad. Now she says it's any father, but this man looks just like our fathers who are sunsetting, and they're being followed by their children and their grandchildren. Mary Ann's in the house. Can we give her a hand for this? Thank you, Mary. And men and women organizations who have contributed $5,000 or more to the organization in the past year will receive one of these. And so who is this to present this? Jamie Baker will share some history about this award and the recipients of this award. Jamie?
Good evening. I'm Jamie Baker, board member of Forever Dads and chairman of the Make It Happen Now committee. The Make It Happen Now committee is the financial arm and the fundraising committee that helps support the financial stability and viability of Forever Dads and its mission. Tonight I have the honor of recognizing the recipients of the Footsteps of Fatherhood recognition. The Footsteps of Fatherhood recognizes organizations and individuals who have contributed over $5,000 to Forever Dads. At Forever Dads is a nonprofit, and the mission that we have of connecting fathers to communities and to families, a gift and a contribution of over $5,000 goes a long way in helping us meet that mission. So tonight, it's my honor to recognize the 2020 Footsteps of Fatherhood recipients and to say thank you for your contributions to Forever Dads.
Over the 25 years that the JW and MH Straker Charitable Foundation has been in existence, we have provided funds to 501c3s in Muskingum County, primarily for capital projects. Our original gift helped with the marketplace. Forever Dads set up a system where that they could supply food to people downtown at a reduced price, and we provided some equipment.
The Cora Rogie Foundation was established by Mrs. Rogie. The foundation is established to support various organizations within Muskingum County whose purpose is to promote and simply make our community a better place to live in. And that's why the Board of Trustees got together upon review of an application they received from Forever Dads to do some upgrades to the existing physical plant. The Board of Trustees decided that was a worthy project and did assist with the replacement of some HVAC equipment.
Forever Dads, there's so many studies that show that if a father is present in the home, the children will have much more success. They graduate from high school at a higher rate. That can only provide good things for our community.
So we are fortunate in our community to have the people who will expend and devote their time and talents to Forever Dads. And for that, hats off to them, and the Rogie Foundation is very pleased to be a part of that organization and support its mission.
Give a hand, please, for the Rogie Foundation and the Straker Foundation. Is there a representative from the Rogie or the Straker Foundation here tonight? We'd like to see your face, if you've got a face that we can see. All right, thank you. Honored that you support this work. And any of you here who find it in your heart and spirit to give to this work, to support this work, in whatever capacity you can, call our office and tell our executive director, I'm in. I'm in. Our executive director is Burl Lemon. Burl, would you stand, please? Give Burl a hand for leadership. It may not be money. It may be time. It may be that you see some kids who need, and some fathers who need our support, and we'll find a way to support them. We come now to the primary reason that we have gathered tonight, and that's to induct 5 men who have lived honorable lives into the legacy of fatherhood. we give them a montage that was prepared and painted, drawn by Josette Davison. I'm going to ask the chairman of Forever Dad's board, Scott Comstock, to come and unveil this picture that has all your faces and portraits on it. Zoom in on that. There you go. We got Berkey, and we got Millman, and we got Jerry, and we got Tom, Charles, Chuck. Don't look bad, guys. Nice. So all of your families will get a copy of that, and the original will be hung in Forever Dads. As you came in, you saw the 8 montages that have been in previous years. Each one of you will get that. So tonight, here's the way we honor you. We have prepared a video in advance of people who know you better than we know you. And they will celebrate your lives. So inspiring to hear their stories and their commendation. And then we will give you a piece of art. Also at your table are proclamations from public officials that you can take with you when you leave. And there's a proclamation from the county commissioners. There's a proclamation from Mayor Don Mason, from United States Senator Rob Portman, from United States Congressman Bill Johnson, from the Ohio State Senator Tim Schaefer, and from Ohio Attorney General David Yost. Those are at your table. So sit back and enjoy the stories of your life. They will be watched on the screen here, and after each video, we will ask the honoree to come and accept your honor and make brief remarks. Did I say brief? Remarks. Our first honoree tonight is Tom Barone.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm George Hyotis of the WHIZ Media Group. We're proud to be sponsors of tonight's Forever Dads Tribute to Fatherhood. Forever Dads is an organization that celebrates and strengthens fatherhood. It's turning the hearts of fathers to their children. Tonight, we honor 5 men who tried their best to be good dads and also dedicated their lives to improving the quality of life for others. Our first honoree is Tom Barone. Tom Barone is the oldest of 4 children born to Anthony and Eleanor Barone. After graduating from high school, he enrolled in St. John Fisher College, completing a degree in economics. He then obtained a master's degree in hospital administration from Xavier University. He served in the United States Army Reserves from 1968 to 1974. While at Xavier, Tom met and married Janet Colwell. They were blessed with 2 daughters, Pamela and Christina. They have 5 grandchildren. After working with the New York State Department of Mental Hygiene in New York and the Hamilton Center in Indiana, Tom and his family moved to Zanesville and began a 17-year career at Genesis Hospital. In 1997, he accepted a position at Rankin & Rankin, specializing in health insurance products. Tom has served on numerous boards, including the Chamber of Commerce, Community Bank, and St. Thomas and Rosecrans. He is proud to call Zanesville home.
Hi, my name is Jan Barone, and I happen to be one of the luckiest people in the world because I met Tom Barone 48 years ago. He swept me off my feet, and it's been an adventure ever since then.
The words that come to my mind when I think of my dad, and my mom, but obviously my dad, was stability. Our family had constant stability in our lives. And most families can't say that.
I've known it for years that you're the best dad and that you're the dad of the year, so I'm glad you're being recognized by others besides me.
I've known Tom for now about 40 years. The one word I would use to describe him, he's always a winner. Always very positive. Even when people are negative to him, Tom always takes the high road and gives people the benefit of the doubt.
Martha and I have lived next door to Tom and Jan for the last 17 years, both here in Zanesville and in Naples, Florida. Tom's a good friend, and I don't mean just to me. Tom has many, many good friends. Tom truly listens to what people have to say and is respectful of them. So Tom, for all these qualities, I really respect my good friend.
He's honest, he's funny, he's caring, he likes to have fun.
Girls in the house everywhere. No boys, of course, girls everywhere. And that's back when soap operas were really popular. So my dad he was the cameraman for us. So he taped our soap opera episodes, which we literally put makeup on, we dressed up, we would rearrange the house, my parents would let us. It's hysterical when I think about it, and he had a straight face. I mean, a few times he was our butler and he would, serve us drinks, just stories like that, which that's huge. That's huge for a young girl to have their father as, a positive role model. That's huge.
He's very hardworking, he's driven, he's kind, he's loyal, he's thoughtful, he's faithful, he is funny, he's fun. He's really somebody you just want around all the time.
He's a dad, a father that I think everyone would love to have.
Tom, they couldn't have picked a better person or dad. It's an honor well deserved. So congratulations, old friend.
I like Papa because he's kind, funny, he plays games with us, he has a good Donald Duck accent. I love Papa because he's really nice and he plays Frankenstein with us in the pool, and I just love him so much. I know Papa because he plays Franken Papa in the house because he tickled me.
I'm so glad that he's mine. I feel like I really hit the jackpot when I was given dads. I love you so much, Dad. I always thought you're the best.
Dad, you have been by far the rock of our family. You have given me the skills and the ability to carry on the nursing legacy in our family. And knowing the type of work I'm doing now, working with some pretty sick people, I know that having that stability in my life and having you as my role model and mom has allowed me to help people know that I love you, I will always cherish you, and I appreciate you more each day the older I get, and I'm so thrilled that I have this opportunity to tell you these things.
Our life together has been, 48 years. It's been the fastest 48. And I really wish we could have 48 more. I know that's not in the cards, but it's been a wonderful trip, a wonderful experience and love and journey to be with Tom and to be with our family. So I want to thank you very much for this honor that you are bestowing on him. I, of course, think it's very well deserved, but he knows in his heart that we as his family and friends love him and honor him and respect him greatly. But thank you again. It's been a pleasure to think about this, to gather my thoughts, and to express how much I love Tom Barone.
Tom Barone, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow. I guess I owe some people, don't I? I'll start but let me start with at least some of what I prepared. It's in my pocket here. Hopefully I can remember. First of all, congratulations to all my fellow award winners. This is indeed a tribute for me to be with you in this kind of a capacity. I certainly did not expect this, and I am convinced I'm not worthy, but I will accept nonetheless. So this is truly a humbling experience, and to hear all the accolades, I'm not quite convinced they're all accurate, but again, I'll accept them. What the heck? I can live with it. You can see there was hair back then. So for those of you who didn't think like my granddaughters that I ever had hair, there's pictures now, so we've got evidence of that. I wouldn't be here if it weren't for the fact that I was fortunate enough to have met my wife, who has her own ways of getting things done, and she's very effective, I might add. It's now going on over 49 years ago. This is a little dated. When Jan and I made our commitment together to marriage, we didn't have any idea, obviously, where it would take us. But as she said in her remarks, it's been quite a trip. The parenting process and my role as a dad could not have been made possible had it not been for what she did. I'm going to have to get after George Hyotis because I came here to work a Good Samaritan. Granted, it's now Genesis, and I have no regrets. But we moved here in 1979. Jan was a stay-at-home mom, thank goodness. It was wonderful to have her there for the girls because I was not at home. And that's just the way it was. That the job required an immense amount of effort, and it was very rewarding, and I'm most appreciative of that. So I truly do love you, honey, because without you, this award wouldn't be possible. So I accept it on behalf of both of us, because that's really the way it's meant. The tributes, I'm overwhelmed and appreciate. Al Burns is here. My daughters Pam and Chris are here. Bob Glass is not here, but he's truly a dear friend and colleague. We were in business together at Rankin & Rankin, and we've had much to celebrate over the years. My son-in-law Brian, who's married to Chris, is here. Their daughters Katie and Mary are here. Pam, they live in Columbus. Pam lives in Connecticut. Her family was kind enough to let her go to be here to help us celebrate. But I want to give thanks to my son-in-law Peter and to Annie, Ellie, and Tommy. My background, and there was a picture of my parents. The legacy that James referred to is clearly evident in anything and everything that I've ever done. My dad worked 2 full-time jobs. So he worked 80 hours a week. And he did that because there were 4 kids at home, and he was determined his children were going to have a better life. And he provided, and although we didn't have 10, our 4 are all college graduates as well. The evidence of that sacrifice is palpable in me to this day. And I'm forever grateful for having had that foundation. There were 4 things that were really the pillars to my growing up: family, faith, respect, and work. And with those 4 pillars, anything that I've ever accomplished in life, I can tie back to them. And they were established by my parents, who deeply believed that you weren't going to get ahead if you didn't put forth the effort. And don't ever expect anything to be handed to you. If you want it, you have to go get it. So that's who I am. That's what my background's all about. And to be honored by your organization is something that I will cherish forever. This is an honor unlike any I've ever been able to witness or receive, and I will hold it near and dear to me for the rest of my life. So again, I want to thank you all. We are thrilled to be part of the Zanesville community, and this award is emblematic of why we are here and why we will continue to be here and support this. Thank you so much.
You don't blame the Fatherhood organization for the pictures that your wives and families gave us. I remember it's been over maybe 20 years ago now when the most significant merger of my observation lifetime occurred in our community. And there was a transfer, a legacy transfer that came to me in that season. And it was watching Tom Barone. And what you gave me, Tom, what you transferred to me was grace. That I felt, that I saw as I watched you, as a man and as a leader in our community during those days. I thank you for your strength, because that wouldn't have happened without your strength. Thank you. Our next honoree is Berkey, James Leo Berkey Burkhart, with how many kids? So far, 11 children in the Berkey family. Let's hear his story.
James Leo Burkhart, or Berkey, as he was affectionately known, is the oldest of 4 children, born to Nicholas and Nell Burkhart. After graduating from Lash High School, he joined the Army, where he worked as a machinist. He married Ann Mattingly in September 3rd, 1955, and to this union were born 11 children: Linda, Nancy, Anita, Elaine, Jeanette, Beth Ann, Mike, Pat, Kent, Dean, and Keith. They have 27 grandchildren and 10 great-grandchildren. He was employed at Anchor Hawking Glass as a tool and die maker. Berkey died April 13, 2013. He and Ann had been married for 58 years. He had been a lifetime member of St. Thomas Catholic Church and the Knights of Columbus. He promoted organ and tissue donation, and he personally donated over 50 gallons of blood to the Red Cross. He loved to hunt, fish, garden, play cards, travel, and fix stuff. He could fix anything.
He was a great leader. He loved us. We could tell that. We knew he loved us. He loved his family. He was the best dad ever.
We were neighbors for 47 years until he passed away. He was a man with a smile on his face every day, every morning. Very pleasant fellow. He certainly was missed.
Leo was just an outstanding person. He was a real people person, very committed to his friends, his society, and the church, the whole, just everything about him as far as the community is concerned.
The kids talk about he had a 4-car garage. Well, it still stands today, but Berkey was always working on a car. Well, with 11 kids, there were lots of cars around.
You still feel him here. When you're working on stuff, get back to the patient thing. If you're working on a car or whatever, and you lose a bolt down in there, you think of Dad. I'm thinking, Dad would do this. Dad would do this, and he kind of just keeps pushing you to get that bolt. That's the one that belongs in there.
I had a year where I got to work with him at Anchor Glass, so that was just me and him. So it was cool.
And I just sorry that he was taken so soon, but that's the way it is sometimes.
We sort of shared our children. We had a yard between us, but our kids felt as at home down there with them as their kids did up at our house with ours.
Yeah, our kitchen window looks right out at their house, so we see it every day and we miss them every day.
He would take us fishing, and we would get the lines tangled all the time, and he would take the time to untangle all the lines.
Before he even threw his own cast in?
Yes.
Always looking on the bright side. He'd come home whistling "Kiss an Angel Goodmorning" by Charlie Pride. That was I was thinking about that. And he whistled that for years and years and years.
In Yellow Roses, Texas.
Yeah.
Yes.
We lost our oldest daughter 30 years ago. And I can remember that Burkhart family coming and bringing a Bartlett pear tree and planting it in her memory. So it comes back every spring as the white blossoms come out. And it would be nice to have Berkey in to share those memories with us. Just precious memories.
We always had what we needed. I never felt like we were missing anything. We had great parents.
Going through his toolbox from his work after he passed away, all folded up and neatly little notes were all the little notes we had sent him in his lunchbox.
He's always thinking of others. I mean, he was Santa. He played Santa forever for all the neighbor kids, and he was a very giving person.
He was the best. I couldn't have asked for anyone better than Dad.
I guess when you judge yourself in life, you look back and try to decide what you could have done different, and it's not hard to find, things that you could have done better, but we did the best we could at the time, and Leo was the same way. I'm sure that if he was sitting here in this chair today, he'd tell you that he made a lot of mistakes in raising his children, and something that he probably tried to teach his children to do a better job raising theirs. So, he was more of he wasn't a father figure to him, he was more of a brother figure. And he, just that type of person. He taught by, or he showed by example, not by speaking.
We love you, Berkey. What would you say?
I miss you.
Yeah, we do miss him.
When they got married, she wanted 12 kids.
It would take a lot to raise 11 kids, and they made it through, which...
And even growing up, we would all go along, and even to this day, it's awesome having so many brothers and sisters and little nieces and nephews. And I mean, I am thankful to my parents for having such a big family, because I'm thankful for all of my family.
Well, the Burkhart family stand all this side. Watch the world tip. Here we go.
Thank you. Hello. My name is Kent Burkhart. I'm number 9. Lucky number 9 to be able to stay up here and tell you about our father. Unlucky enough not to have been at this event before, knowing that it's a shirt and tie event. I know I didn't make my wife happy about this, and I do not mean any disrespect to any former or current fathers. So just want to get that out there. We filmed this about a year ago, so I may repeat some things, and I didn't see the full video, so I'm not going to try to go through this and figure out what's been said and what's not been said, so deal with me here. Dad was a lifelong resident of Zanesville, graduated from high school, and then served his country in the Korean War. He married our mother in 1955 and were married nearly 58 years until his death in 2013. They raised 11 children together, and he retired from Zanesville Mold in 1994 after 30-plus years of service. During his life and retirement, he enjoyed his family, traveling, fishing, gardening, playing euchre with Mom, and volunteering at the Knights of Columbus. Many things come to mind when thinking of Dad. The first is his work ethic. He worked as much overtime as he could to provide for the family. Christmas was huge for him. Mom did a really good job being fair to 11 kids and with the money that Dad provided. He had so much fun at Christmas. I mean, Mom would have everything all nice and ready to go, and then someone would open their first present, and then Dad would be wadding up paper and starting to throw it at people. And then it was on. Everyone was throwing stuff. So he really enjoyed family, and we miss him. They also provided to take us on vacations, which were really fun. All of us went to Florida one year as well. When he got home after working all the overtime, a lot of times he would just head right to the garden. He's providing financially, but then he gets home and he worked in the garden, which provided a lot of the food that we needed. So he'd walk out to the garden, then he'd walk across the backyard, whistling Yellow Rose of Texas, just like Dave Johnson mentioned. He was a happy, happy guy. Then 90% of the time when he came into the house, he would have to get down in the basement and prime our pump. We had 13 people in the family, and our pump wasn't the strongest, and he would have to get down there and prime it all the time. He tried to teach us, but we really didn't want to learn. Let's see, what else we hear? He taught us how to manage money and save. Another thing he did is, as they mentioned, fix things. After priming the pump and stuff, he would, chances were we needed a mini bike, a three-wheeler, or anything fixed, we'd be in the garage. And then he also liked these lawnmowers that were called Pennsylvania Panzers. He loved them. We don't know why, because we thought they were junk. But he worked on them, and that's what we used to mow our yard. He also taught us to be kind, and most of all, to have fun. He led by example. We went to church every Saturday night at Mattingly Settlement, or more often, we went to Sunday morning Mass at St. Thomas at 7 o'clock. Many of us give blood today, as they mentioned earlier, because Dad gave over 50 gallons of blood in his lifetime, which is, you think about that, 50 gallons of blood. I mean, he started giving, what'd you say, right before? When he was 18, and he gave every time he could. So he inspired many of us to do that. Our dad was always happy, but when one of us screwed up, he made his expectations for us pretty clear. And we didn't want to do that again. We respected him, and we didn't like to see him upset. What made Dad so successful as a parent is he didn't have to do it alone. He had a great partner in raising us, and that's our mother. He loved her very much, and they shared the same beliefs in raising us kids. One's weakness was the other's strength, and they were a great team. What I have here also is, going through their stuff, we found a letter of recommendation Dad got from his first lieutenant coming out of the military, that he needed to get his first job, which I believe was mosaic tile, and then he went on to Zanesville mold. And I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm going to just read the part what I thought was pretty cool. This was written in 1952. Corporal Burkhart was in complete charge of our general purpose machine shop, performing work as a machinist. The unit was on duty on Maguana Island, British West Indies. As a result, spare parts for our equipment were scarce, requiring many to be machined by Corporal Burkhart. As a machinist, he was required to cut special shafts from round stock, cut keys, make special pins and bolts. At times, he was required to tool the lathe for use as a small milling machine because we did not have a milling machine. During the time he was a member of our maintenance section, he proved himself to be extremely capable and conscientious. If Corporal Burkhart were still in the service, I would do everything in my power to have him back in my unit. And that was his first lieutenant, Frank O'Quinn. from what you learned from the film and what information I gave you today, if you were not fortunate enough to know our father, you can see what kind of man he was. He inspires us all, and we miss him dearly. Thank you.
Our next honoree is Milman Lynn, and he is watching us tonight, but he will be, so just watch the video to hear Mr. Lynn's story.
Milman Lynn III is the son of Milman and Helen Lynn. He graduated from Phillips Academy and Harvard College. He received an MBA from Harvard Business School in 1957. He enlisted in the U.S. Navy Reserves and served 2 years. He returned to work in the family business, the Zanesville Stoneware Company. He has been married to Lynn Fitz for 65 years, and they have 3 children, Tim, Andy, and Amy, 8 grandchildren, and 4 great-grandchildren. He was elected president of the Rotary Club, Bethesda Health Foundation, and the Bicentennial Legacy Committee. In addition, he served on the following boards: YMCA, Abbott Home for Men, Zanesville Museum of Art, Ohio University Regional Coordinating Council, and John McIntyre Estate. He served as treasurer of the Easter Seal Society. In 1995, he and his wife established a scholarship at Ohio University Zanesville, awarded annually to students who have shown the most improvement during the academic year. His generosity is well documented.
Well, we met when I was maybe 8 years old, and I was picking tulips from somebody else's yard who was next door to where my husband lived, and he and his mother watched me out the window picking the tulips.
Bud's been a good friend over the last 20 years. He extends the fathering, parenting mantra beyond the home into his community. Where wisdom was needed, he was there. Where insight and vision was needed, he was there. And when you just needed to have someone to talk with, Bud was there.
Well, from my perspective, he's the patriarch of our family. He's the chief, he's the guy. You know, when I think about him, the values that he has, he's just very much a leader by example, and those are values that he instilled in my dad and my aunt and my uncle, and now in turn that they're instilling in myself and my sisters and my cousins. And you work hard, you exercise physically and mentally. It's good to read a book from time to time. You eat right, you be philanthropic, and you give back to your community. You live a modest, humble life. You count your blessings and stay true to your faith, and you love and support your family.
We lived in Boston. We had a beautiful time in Boston because we lived in this little tiny apartment. We didn't have any money. We lived on $1 a day. So on Saturday night, when he would drop the papers down the chute at midnight, we would buy a half a pint of cherry vanilla ice cream and a Sunday paper. And that was our big treat for the whole week, the half a pint ice cream and the Sunday paper. We just had a lot of fun. Our children were our biggest blessings. And we feel very blessed. It's just been a happy, happy time. It's gone too quickly. It really, 66 years almost have gone like in a blink of an eye. I think we'd both love to go back to the very beginning, but I don't know that we'd change anything.
I feel very inspired by him and the way he demonstrates his ability to work with his family, and he and his wife are an inspiration to me and my wife to follow and perhaps in some of those footsteps that he has shared with me.
I've gotten to know Bud Lynn very well. He's a trustee emeritus at the Zanesville Museum of Art, and he's been a trustee for nearly 4 decades. I was thrilled that he was receiving this honor, and I always see him with his family at his events, so he provides a really nice role model for all of us.
When I had gone through a surgery back in 1998, one of my goals was to celebrate my return to health by going to Charlottesville, Virginia, and running a very rigorous 10-mile race. Buddy joined me in that to support me. And the interesting part was he ran in the race, he won his age group, and he set the record that had been standing for 50 years. Bud Lynn, Zanesville, Ohio, new record holder.
You know, it makes things like this, I think, nice too, because when I look at all that he's accomplished and all that he's done in his life, it's just, wow, you know. How can, those are big shoes to fill, how can you measure up?
He feels very honored, and so do I. We're humbled. He feels he really doesn't deserve it because he thinks it was so much fun being a dad. And I said, well, you know, like I said, I think it's always been fun for him to be a dad. And always the kids would say this too.
She's number 23 in the Lynn family clan. I know that it makes him very proud that he's got future generations and to see, you know, the family growing.
Sweetheart, I'll probably cry. Just have to tell you how proud I am of you and how wonderful you're being recognized and honored. You deserve it. We all are so proud of you. We all love you, and I love you too, sweetheart.
Thank you. I'm happy to accept this award on my grandfather's behalf. He gave me a letter to read, and I'm told all the time that we all us Lynn's look the same, so maybe if you squint, you won't really know the difference. Dear friends of Forever Dads, thank you very much for including me in the class of 2020, being recognized in 2021. What a year it has been. Hopefully we'll be back to normal before the end of 2021. I especially want to thank James McDonald, Burl Lemon, Nick Lyons, and Andrew Joseph, who worked so hard for the organization. My wife Lynn and I have been married for 66 years, and our family has grown from the 2 of us to the current 23, and we're not done yet. He must be talking to my wife, I think. We feel blessed to have such a wonderful family, and I have loved every minute of being a dad, then a granddad, and now a great-granddad. It is great to be recognized for having fun. When I was in college a zillion years ago, I took a course in Far East civilizations. In that course, we touched on the teachings of Confucius. As an aside, it wouldn't be a Bud Lynn speech if he didn't mention Confucius someplace in there. An ancient Chinese philosopher. One of his tenets was to lead by good example. That stuck with me as a good idea, and I have tried to practice it. I believe that Forever Dads has a similar philosophy, and it will succeed in its mission. Thank you for the recognition you have given me, and my sincere wishes to Forever Dads for their success. Yours truly, Bud Lynn. Thank you.
Our next honoree is the one and only Jerry Jackson.
Jerry Jackson is the youngest of 4 children raised by their single mother, Lenora Jackson. He graduated from Corning High School. He earned bachelor and master's degrees from Ohio University while on athletic scholarship. He was the basketball all-star and broke OU's all-time scoring record his senior year. He led the Bobcats to the Elite 8 in the NCAA tournament, which is the furthest any OU team has ever advanced. He was drafted and played for the Detroit Pistons. Jerry and his wife Anita have been married 55 years and have 2 daughters, Kimberly and Christy. They have 4 grandchildren. Mr. Jackson taught industrial arts, technology, and mechanical drawing at Grover Cleveland Middle School, where he coached basketball and track. He also coached OUZ's basketball team. He was inducted into the Ohio University Hall of Fame and the OUZ Hall of Fame. He has mentored hundreds of young people. He has served on numerous boards, including the Nelson T. Gant Foundation, the Zanesville Esquire Club, and the Zanesville Community Center. Mr. Jackson has always had a pet dog of some kind around the house.
Well, we met at Ohio University, and it was kind of interesting because I was on a date with another guy, and we went to a basketball game. I kept saying, "Who was that number 22?" The guy I was dating said, "Oh, that's Jerry Jackson." A little did I know at that time that would end up being my husband. He was smooth. We had always said we were going to have 5 boys, another basketball team. And so after the second daughter, we said, I guess we're just not going to have boys. He just relished his daughters, wanted to be with them, do so many wonderful things with them. And one of the things he always said was, I want you to be happy and make good choices, but make choices that will help lead you to happiness.
Well, I've probably known Jerry for like 45 years now. I knew him, met him up to Grove Cleveland when he used to teach up Grove Cleveland. And he had my two stepsons in school. If something would happen to me, I would like my two young men to look up to Jerry and be like Mr. Jackson. I think it's important that every man should be a leader in the community, but Mr. Jackson is a model to look at to help any man don't know the way. You can talk to Mr. Jackson and learn the way. It's a great feeling that somebody is seeing the great work he does out there and recognizing what he does.
Oh, he's a good dad. He's a good family man. He's a good community man. He's got some really wonderful qualities as a human being. He's always very inclusive.
Trying to think of some good things about Jerry Jackson, it's very, very easy. But the thing that comes to my mind, my mother always told me as I got older that you never know how good a parent you were until your kids are parents. And I'm sure that Jerry just epitomizes this with his children and grandchildren.
The thing I remember vividly about Jerry, he was a calm, cool character, very committed to basketball in Ohio University, and I'm sure he carried that forward to his being a husband, a father, and a grandfather.
I mean, he's just a family man, not only to his own kids, but even to the kids in the community.
You know, he also coached at Ohio University basketball, and I've met a couple of his ex-players, and he was like a father figure to them even at that age, that, I think he's had a profound effect on some lives that would definitely say he's very much deserving of this award, yes.
Jerry is a man of few words, and he's very humble. And I admire that about him, because humility is freedom from having to prove to others that you're superior. And he's just a very humble, down-to-earth man. When we go places, he'll never say anything about what he does. I brag on him. He's in, for example, 5 halls of fame for basketball or coaching basketball. And he will be with people and we'll be even talking about basketball, but that will never come up. He will never say anything about that unless I do. And if I say something, it's like, oh, wow, oh, why did you say? They'll say, why didn't you say something? But that's just the way he is. It shows that he feels strong about who he is. There's strength in humility, because he sees no reason to prove himself superior to any other person.
One of the nicest men I know, far as helping people, doing things for people, helping kids, sit down, talk to you, and he's got a good background in education.
If you need help, he's certainly going to be the first person there to help you out. Yeah, I mean, those are all good qualities of a good human being, a good dad.
Jerry Jackson is the best father-in-law because he loved his family and he taught me how to play golf.
I appreciate how every time he comes down, he always makes an effort to come to one of my games to support.
If you go into Zanesville with Jerry, you better have some extra time, because he's always going to run to old students that love him like a father.
My dad has always been supportive of everything that we do and is incredibly encouraging.
My father has always been there anytime we've needed him, and I love him for that.
We love you, Grandpa.
I don't know if I want to believe some of those things that my family was saying up there, especially the youngest one that was there. She's the last of the group. And before I start talking about my daughters, I'd like to thank Burl and James for selecting me to be honored here tonight as a father. And I want to thank my Esquire brothers for showing up. And my adopted son, Reuben Starks, is over there with his daughter. And also my adopted sister, Carol Steele. I've known Carol for 50, 60 some years. We were married the same year when Gary Steele and I first met. I don't want to speak too much on Gary Steele. It's just hard to miss him. Anyway, let me go on with what I have written down, see if I can get through this. Forever Dads means a lot to me. That's forever. Forever Dads. Just recently, 10 months ago, I moved to North Carolina to be near my 2 daughters and 4 grandkids. The move has been just awesome. I mean, we get to see our children, my 2 daughters and the grandchildren, almost every week, at least 2 or 3 times a week. We bought a home there and we downsized. And the good thing about it is I don't have to cut grass. That's one of the better things about it. But we still have a lot of things to get rid of. And bringing up my children, as far as getting an education, my wife and I always instilled that in them. You know, after high school, we didn't ask them, are you going to go to college? We said, which one are you going to go to? And that was it. And we're very pleased that both of them have graduated college, have their master's degree plus, and one of them has their doctorate, Juris Doctorate. And I always say they probably took after their mother. In growing up, a lot of times I think about how did I get from there to here? A lot of mornings, evenings, sitting on the back porch, front porch, listening to music and thinking, how did I get from there to here? Now, some of you know, the town that I'm from is called Renville. It's on Route 13 between here and Athens, Ohio. Now, you heard in the film that my mother raised 4 children by herself. I was the oldest. And also at the beginning of the program, you heard Denzel Washington say a lot of students or any of the street talk, a lot of them will find their fathers on the street, and some of them turn out bad. But I also found fathers on the streets of Renville. And a good example is the barber that we had in Renville, an old Indian man. Whenever I went to get my hair cut, he would always ask me, "Are you going to get a good education?" He always said education whenever he asked me about furthering my education. And I always looked forward to that. I also looked forward to help from a highway department worker, Jesse Roberts, who was my first coach in track, baseball, and basketball. Jesse took a liking to me, and he gave me a job on the highway department my junior year of high school and my senior year of high school. Jesse taught us how to play with each other, with one another in the old Renville junior high. We never had a basketball court. We learned how to dribble up and down the hallways. We shot our baskets into a waste paper basket. But the main thing that he taught us was you work together. Work together and make something out of yourself. Another individual, Corning, which was a high school that I went to, Corning, Ohio, an old hardware owner who had a son that went to Ohio University in the 50s, the early 50s. He saw me walking on the street one day with some of my friends, and he called me into his hardware store. He said, "You know, I see you walking with your friends every once in a while, and I know what you've been doing in high school as far as playing basketball." He said, "When you're walking with your friends, stand up straight." He noticed that I was leaning over because they were shorter than I was. And in order for me to talk to them and run with them, I guess I had a slump in my shoulders. And he talked me into, said, just stand up straight. You're a man, you're going to be something someday. And little did I know that he was an alumnus of Ohio University. He knew the coach there, and he was bringing the coach up to watch me play basketball during my junior and senior year. Some of the coaches weren't allowed to recruit, but they could have somebody else to talk to the players. And that's what he was doing to me. Also, I don't want to leave out my coaches, Coach Berger, Coach Snyder from Ohio University, Coach Blosser. All of these people helped me on the right path. I didn't have a father figure, but they were my father figure. And that is how I got from little Renville to right here. And my wife and I have had a wonderful life together, and we're still having a wonderful life in North Carolina. I would like to close by saying there's a saying from Mark Twain. You just said something about Mark Twain. I have something that stuck in my mind also about Mark Twain. He says, politicians and diapers need to be changed every now and then. And most of the time it's for the same reason. Thank you.
Excellent.
Final honoree tonight is Charles Chuck Bell. Here's his story.
Chuck Bell is one of two sons born to Robert and Elizabeth Bell. He graduated from Frazeysburg High School and earned degrees in agriculture education and leadership from The Ohio State University. Chuck and his first wife, Dixie, who passed away in 2004, were the proud parents of two daughters, Charlene and Jennifer. They have 9 grandchildren and 3 great-grandchildren. After teaching vocational agriculture for 2 years, Mr. Bell became the 4-H extension agent in Muskingum County. During his 20-year tenure, 4-H enrollment increased by 1,000 members, and the number of volunteers doubled. He has received state and national awards for his passionate dedication to 4-H. He has served on numerous boards, including College Drive and Central Presbyterian Churches, Eastside Community Ministries, and the Ohio Speakers Forum. In 2007, he married Sue McFerrin, went to hear him lecture at the library. She fondly recalls, "I went to get some classroom ideas and ended up with a husband." He took her son Josh under his wings, as he has done with so many others.
Chuck is a local boy, born and raised in Muskingum County. And then for 20 years, he was our extension educator, they're called, and was in charge of our 4-H program in Muskingum County. And then after 20 years, he was promoted to an area supervisor at 16 counties here in southeastern Ohio.
He's probably touched hundreds and hundreds of young men and young women through the 4-H program, and has been a father figure to many of them who might have come from single families or families where there wasn't a real father figure.
I met Chuck when I was first introduced into 4-H. I was about 9 years old, and he was just, at that point, he was just another father of kids that were in my 4-H club. The biggest thing that Chuck ever instilled in me was respect for other people, you know, big or small, old or young.
In talking to some of the 4-Hers, there was a little song that they sang, "Oh great chief, body like a telephone pole and a head like a ping pong ball." I don't know where the ping pong ball came from, but he certainly has the stature of a telephone pole.
There's still people that come up to me that I have no idea who they are, and they'll look at me like they know me because I'm Chuck Bell's daughter. You know, he affects everybody, and he influences a lot of people. And you know, he was the dad that got up and made pancakes. I don't like pancakes now because of him, because it's pancakes every morning. You know, that's what he did. He could make pancakes. He made pancakes for us for breakfast.
Chuck was always in charge of the pancakes for breakfast. But, you know, sometimes there were some charred ones.
I do like pancakes, but it's not my favorite breakfast food. But yes, every Saturday morning was pancakes, and we cleaned the house, and it was our cleaning day, and it was our special breakfast from our dad.
Chuck is my father. He actually came into my life about 15 years ago. I got a job offer to move to Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. I didn't realize, you know, the effect that it would have on my mom. She was a single mom for the better part of my life, and having that void in her life with me gone, I'm just really thankful that she found somebody that loves her unconditionally and is always there for her.
It's a pleasure to be his wife. Chuck is very humble. He seldom takes credit for the things he does.
He's humble.
It's very,
He's
humble.
very humble.
It's not all about me. It's about
Doing
about,
right.
About other people.
Other people.
He would do just about anything for anybody.
When he does something, he does it from the heart. He does it from just the passion for people, for whatever the cause is that he's fighting for. And that's just my dad. He always catched our falls, and he would catch everybody else when they fell.
He's the standard of doing right.
Yes. He's caring and understanding, but yet, you know, he's definitely, he's black and white. If it's right, it's right. If it's wrong, it's wrong.
But I would say he lived the 4-H pledge, you know, the heart for loyalty and the head for clear thinking, the hands to service and the health to better living. And through doing those things, we're supposed to be examples to our club, or family in this case, in our country and community and world. And he's used those principles always in his own life as a father to his girls and a father figure to his acquired son and to the people he works with daily and to the hundreds and hundreds of kids that have been through the 4-H program in Muskingum County.
I think I'm a better parent because he was my dad. And I think he was a great role model in that aspect.
He's an awesome man. He's a great uncle. He's a great husband and great grandfather. He's a good friend.
At my wedding, there was a song, "The Wind Beneath My Wings," and I don't want to get upset, but he's always been such a great role model through everything that he's lived his life and the way he's lived his life. And he's always been an inspiration to me to be who I am today.
Congratulations.
Love you, Dad.
You remind me of Abraham Lincoln. You ever play him? George Washington. All right, all right. You're the first then. Chuck Bell.
Whoa, what are you supposed to do after that? I don't like. Anyway, I will go a little bit away from what I was thinking about to begin with, what I had written down, and that is that my wife probably won't like this, but I remember when Susan Montgomery approached me about a nomination, and would I accept it? My first thoughts was, what are you thinking? But nevertheless, I would like to thank the ForeverDads and those responsible for nominating me for this. It is a great recognition, and I really appreciate it. And there has been a fourth great-grandchild that's been added that you don't see on your sheet there since last year. Ironically, one of the other nominees that is here, I saw him, he was in a scrimmage at Frazeysburg. He doesn't remember it, but he was in a scrimmage at Frazeysburg in 1959. And I watched Jerry Jackson go up and down the floor in that scrimmage. I was a bench player. I sat on the bench for Frazeysburg. And I remember Jerry being smooth, fast, quick, good rebounder, a good shooter. None of those things was I. And I really appreciated that. It was, but anyway, I was a 6'5", 155-pound kid at that time. The story was, I could stand sideways and stick my tongue out, and I looked like a zipper. And I played football, of all things. I played football. It was a small school. And in playing football there, I had these black marks on the front of my helmet. Looked pretty good coming off the bus. And looked like, this guy really goes after people and crashes into them and so forth. But it didn't take long to figure out when I was on the field. Those black marks came from my own shoes. I was very flexible at that time, and they used to have crossbodies. They're illegal now. They'd hit you in the middle, you'd fold up, and my feet would come up and hit my helmet. That is the honest truth. The only point here is I sat on the bench in basketball. I was very flexible in football, so there was no reason to ever retire my number at Frazeysburg. I do appreciate the recognition here tonight, but I'm going to change a little bit of some of the things. I'm going to change a little bit here because I really feel passionate about this. And I'm going to give some advice to those young people who are fathers, the young fathers, and those people that may be here who are fathers to be. And I think that is important. Number one, this advice: don't let time slip by with your children. Take time to work with them, to play with them, even if you have to take some time off from your work. Even if you have to sacrifice a little bit, take time to be with them. Take time to travel or do whatever with them. Go to their activities in school. Show up. It means a lot to them, or I believe it does. You learn a lot of things. One of those things that I learned was coming home from basketball games that didn't do too well, that didn't turn out right. And my daughters will adhere to what I'm saying. Sometimes you learn to keep your mouth shut because it was a stressful time. Number two, remember things change. You have children that are growing to adults. And as a father, you see that happening. However, you need to know also as they change, your position changes. You go from a manager to a consultant. A consultant doesn't necessarily have much power to do things except suggest here and there and give advice. But that is a position that you're going to be in. You're going to change positions over time. And the importance, it's like a youngster gets ready to leave home. He or she are going to end up going to college, or they're going away to a job and they're not going to be living at home. It kind of fits into looking like they're in that car, they're all packed. You can fill the gas tank up and you can give them a map, but you can't take the trip for them. It's very important there, then, what you did as a father for role modeling. One of the things that happens in role modeling is that people see you and they imitate you. There's going to be somebody that's going to imitate you, whether you know it or not. There's a lot of those things that happen. You need to be a role model for your own family and your own children, your grandchildren. But you also need, when you're out in the community, the neighbor kids see you. The people see you when you're shopping. The things that you do are important. You're building character just by your actions and by the way you treat other people. You also need to make room for all those people that are out there that you don't necessarily know it's happening. Now, there was a guy by the name of John Wooden who had 10 national championships at UCLA in, I think, 12 years. And one of the things he went with fits into my number 3. And that number 3 is, don't get discouraged just because things don't go right or you're not perfect. You ain't going to be perfect. You just are not going to be perfect. And John Wooden picked up a poem on that. And that was, I am not what I ought to be. I am not what I want to be. I am not what I'm going to be. But I am thankful that I'm better than I used to be. You see, what I believe here is that we need to continue to try to do better, whether it be time, effort, whatever it might be, with those around us and those children that are around us. I think that is the responsibility of a father. Thank you.
Give another hand for all our fathers, honorees tonight. Burl, we can add some names to our Speakers Bureau. 5 names, I would say. This is a great night tonight, and a night that you will long remember, and I thank you for being a part of it. It's a fundraising night, as I indicated, and in the program you can see our fiscal overview of 2019, where it takes about $500,000 to run this organization. And a significant part of that comes from contributions from people like you. We have a goal, we have established a goal to have $1 million in our endowment by June of 2026. That endowment is with the Muskingum County Community Foundation, and your gifts tonight and future gifts will help support that endowment. But not only tonight, but we ask that you think about us even as you move forward with your estate planning and with your giving in the future. Judge Joseph will now speak on behalf of our giving, and you'll hear other voices, and you'll hear one critical voice, the Father's voice, Eli's voice. Judge Joseph.
I also wanted to take a minute to talk to you about how important I think the ForeverDads organization is in our community. Over the years, I've had many defendants appear before me, and unfortunately, a common factor in many of those cases was a home with an absent father. Either the defendant grew up in a home without a father figure, or the defendant was a non-participating father for his own children, and in many cases, it was both. Fortunately, we have ForeverDads that I was able to refer many of these men to for assistance. And in helping them, they not only help that particular father, but they're having a very positive impact on their children and the children to follow. So I'd like to encourage you to consider this evening making a very meaningful donation to the ForeverDads organization so that they can continue their good work in our community. Here's a story on how ForeverDads and its community partners has made an impact on one father's life.
Hi, I'm Nick Lyons. I'm the Director of Programs and Services at ForeverDads. So being the Director of Programs and Services gives me the opportunity to work with different members of our community. When good ideas and community members come together, I think it can be very powerful. A great example of that work would be Eli. Eli came to us about a year ago, and he had a very complex situation. So that's where the idea of Adopt a Dad came in. We were really looking at members in our community who had the willingness to help and who had the skill sets. And when I was coming up with the idea, I looked at congregations because there's a lot of different people who go to church, and those different people have different skills. And so we spoke to Mandy and Todd Fernier from North Terrace Church of Christ. We had a meeting with them. We explained the idea of Adopt a Dad and about forming a team within their church to walk hand in hand with Eli. So that's just a couple examples of things that have happened with Eli since coming to ForeverDads. But I won't tell you his story. I'll just let him tell you.
In the beginning, it was just to get some help getting visitations with my daughters. I'm working on custody now. I hadn't seen him in so long, so there wasn't really much of a relationship there at the time. But now it's all they talk about is wanting to come to my house or wanting to live with me. Makes me realize how hard I've worked to get where I'm at now.
We like to color, we like to watch movies, we like to do all sorts of things. It feels amazing just to be with him, just to hug him, you know, just having him there is amazing.
It's been a good experience being Eli's mentor. I've grown personally through it, and it's been encouraging to watch him, grow and take steps to, just improve his life and what he's doing. When I see him have a win or something goes well for him, I'm right there behind the scenes, cheering him on.
There was times I didn't know if I was going to make it. Either I could keep pushing to do better, or I could let my disease win and die. Basically, I got my own place, a car, working on custody of my kids. I got a decent paying job. I'm pretty happy at where I'm at.
About a year ago, we started what we call a second chance employment program, where we work with individuals who have felony drug convictions in an effort to work them back into the workplace. He came to us as a pretty qualified applicant, eager to learn a new trade. He really made it clear to us that he didn't want just a job, he wanted a pathway out. And in our company, we have a meat cutter apprenticeship program where we take people that have very little experience and we give them a skilled trade, which is meat cutting. And that's something that Eli has expressed an interest in. He's put forth a lot of effort to start learning that trade, and he's learning a little bit more every week.
Just being able to see my kids, one is, worth it. It makes it worth it. That gives me a reason to get up and go to work every day and try to keep pushing for something better.
I'm not surprised by the victories. I think that the core team that was around, the circumstances in this case, a great group of people. So I really had no doubts that we would move this thing forward. I think this is a bond that'll last a lifetime.
Dan's been a big help, especially when my car broke down. Giving me rides to work every day, even just talking. If I can't figure something out, I'm able to reach out to him. He'll help me figure something out. I appreciate all your help. You've become a good friend, and I appreciate everything you've done.
Eli makes a difference every day. He comes to work and does his job and does it cheerfully and works with our customers and our employees and his coworkers.
The one thing I would want him to know is I'm thankful that he did what he did, because before my dad walked out of my life and I didn't have him, and then Lisa's dad showed up and he was there for me, and it just made me feel like you truly are my real dad. You were there, you love me, and I'm thankful to have you.
I would encourage anyone who has any time to give to someone else or can relate to what we're talking about to go do this.
I would just like to say to anyone thinking about supporting Forever Dads, do it. I mean, you could not make a better investment in a nonprofit than you've got right here with Forever Dads.
Just hearing them tell me that they love me, honestly, I think that's probably the best part of it.
I'm thankful for Forever Dads, because if it wasn't for them, we probably wouldn't have had our dad back.
Eli. Is Eli here? Is he in the house? Where are you, Eli? Where are you? Eli, somewhere. Eli is somewhere. Eli's coming. Eli's going. That's one story. One story. I have discovered something in our work with fathers and men. If you shame men, they will hide. If you honor men, they will step up and show up. This is quiet work. It's strengthening and celebrating fatherhood. That was one story. We have had 2,195 participants in our program last year. That's one story. We're asking you to support this work as we continue to the work of our community to bless these men and these families, and particularly and especially our children who need their dads. On the program, you will see our board members. Now, this is board members for 2020, and some of them have come and gone, and they're new board members, but I would like all the board members of Forever Dads, if you would please stand. We'd like to recognize all the board members. One is Judge Joseph's son, Andrew Joseph. Board members. And I'm going to ask one of you, Mac McMillan, to come, and here he is, and provide the ask for us tonight. Matt?
Good evening. Good evening. Most of the time, I am a coach. I don't need a mic. But I'm Matt McMillan. I'm fairly new to the board of directors at Forever Dads. I've only been here about 3 months. So when Burl asked me if I would come and speak this week, I was a little reluctant at first. And I'll tell you why. It wasn't because I haven't been here very long. It's because I thought I had to get a haircut. Now, you think it's funny, but my son, who's watching us right now, when I told him I had to get my hair cut because I had to be presentable, he said, "Dad, your hair looks cool." I said, "My hair looks cool?" He said, "Yeah, Dad, your hair looks cool." And I said, "It really does, right?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he said, "You look like John Wick. And John Wick is like Keanu Reeves. And I was like, so I'm a cool dad, and I look like an actor. That's a win, right? Amen? Yes, that's a win. So with that being said, I want to express to you guys about the charitable contributions and the donations. We've watched testimony all night, okay? And I give to charitable organizations and have for a long time. And when you give on faith, because a lot of those organizations are big, right? And what I mean by give on faith is that you just pray that that donation goes to where it needs to go, does what it needs to do, and help who it needs to help. Amen? Right? The difference with those bigger organizations is you don't see the fruit. I believe it's different with Forever Dads, which is why I'm blessed to be part of this now. I believe it's different because Forever Dads is right here in Zanesville and the surrounding areas. Forever Dads is right here in our community, and Forever Dads is in your backyard. We see the fruit of our donations, ladies and gentlemen. We've seen the testimony. That's one of many. He disappeared on me. One of thousands. Okay? And without your charitable donations and contributions, it wouldn't be possible. So I'm going to ask you, from the bottom of our hearts, continue to donate. Continue the charitable contributions. Because without you, that can't happen. And without you, Forever Dads can't continue to do the work that we're doing for generations and generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. In your program is an envelope, and it has, we create an opportunity for you to support this work. You see some suggested amounts of donations. You see ways you can give. If you can put your phone on this symbol here, you can give electronically. Some of you will give tonight. Some of you will take this home and give at a later time. We ask for your continued support, and I would just ask you to think about it and to just muse on what you would contribute today and in the future as we listen to one of our favorite and most blessed national songs, God Bless America. Would you stand?
While the storm clouds gather far across the sea, let us swear allegiance to a land that's free. Let us all be grateful for a land so fair, as we raise our voices in a solemn prayer. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, white with foam. God bless America. America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. America, America, God shed his grace on thee and crown thy good with brotherhood. From sea to shining sea, God bless America. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Thank you so much, Pastor Justin Williams. Thank you. I've got, before we do the final benediction for tonight, as you remain standing, I have an envelope here to give to two ambassadors of our program that have been with us for many, many years, and they have pastored in our community, and they are about to retire from pastoring, but you can't retire from Forever Dads. This is Bill and Beth Blair. Are they in the house? Bill, come on. Burl, come on up here. Burl, come up with.
You never know what James is going to come up with. But in 2006, when we formed Forever Dads, we worked on the marriage project, Enriching Lives Through Lasting Marriages. And Bill and Beth became part of that. They were anchors to this piece. Over the years, they've continued to support the work that we do. And today, what you're experiencing here, behind the scenes, Beth was making it possible. They've opened their place to host board meetings and so many other things. And after 35 years in the ministry, they're retiring from that part of their life. And we just want to say thank you for serving Forever Dads from your heart, with your time, with your talents. Thank you so much.
I promise I won't be as loud this time. I get excited, especially when I get behind a pulpit. If you all bow our heads, we'll give the benediction. Dear Heavenly Gracious Father, we just come to you today, Lord, thanking you for this night, thanking you for the legacy, Father God. We thank you for the traveling mercies to get us all here, to and from, and give us traveling mercies home, Father God. Father God, I ask that you give the community strength. Give the community strength, our teachers, our Boy Scout leaders, Girl Scout leaders, coaches, social workers, mentors. Give them the strength, Father God, to put a good foundation under that track of life. So when that wand is passed to our sons and daughters, that it's a smooth transition, Father God. We just thank you so much. We thank you for all the blessings you give us on a daily basis. And Father, we just always got to remember that everything we do and say is in direct representation of you, Father God. So we thank you and we praise you in your holiest of holy Son's name, Jesus Christ. Amen.